What's going on, everyone? So, according to Aaron Fintress, who is a Blazer insider, the Portland Trailblazers are expected to trade at least one of Anfernee Simons and or Jerami Grant. So they could trade both of them, they could trade one of them, but they are expected to at least move off of one of those players. Now, the Lakers are heavily active and interested in Jerami Grant. Right now, Portland wants 2 firsts for Jerami Grant, but even Aaron himself says in the same context that he would be surprised if they get 2 firsts for Jerami Grant. This is coming from a Blazers side of things. So chances are they're not going to get a first, which is why I'm confident that the asking price eventually drops for Jerami Grant, that I think at some point they'll end up caving for at least a first. Maybe the Lakers, even if they're the only ones that are really interested in Jerami Grant, maybe they even get it for like a pick swap or something. Maybe it's not even a first, which would be ideal. But I think if you can get him for a first, right, say it's Rui, Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, and a first for Jerami Grant, I think it's something that you got to get done. I think it's something you got to do. I know a lot of people feel like you should keep Rui over Jerami Grant, but Jerami Grant's just a natural 3 compared to Rui Hachimura, who's a natural 4, who at times can play the 3, but you've seen the elements. Jerami Grant's just more versatile overall on both sides of the basketball, gives you a legit two-way wing. He'd immediately be the 3rd best player on the Lakers, even with Rui and say the roster currently as constructed. And let's say Jerami Grant was a free agent that you could sign on a vet minimum, right? Just argument, right? He would still be the 3rd best player on the team, right? Like, even if you trade for him, he's the 3rd best player on the team. However you land Jerami Grant, he's the 3rd best player on the team, right? So I do think it's worth going and acquiring Jerami Grant. I just think it depends on the cost, right? If you have to give up Rui Hachimura 2 firsts and all this, then no. At that point, you're better off just keeping Rui, keeping what you got. Now, 2 ways you kind of look at this. One is this is a great sign, great news that, again, that they want to get off of these guys, right? They have a surplus of guards, right? They want to get off of Jerami Grant because they want to make room for Denny, who they got from the Washington Wizards, right? Like, you look at the situation that Portland's in. They want to tank for Cooper Flag. They want their young guys to come in and play significant minutes and get opportunity, right? If they win games, at least they're winning with the young guys rather than like Jerami Grant and some of the guys that aren't part of their future. They can get some nice assets, some nice returns. Makes sense for Portland. So it's good, right? There is this sense of like, hey, they're going to move off of one, if not both of these guys. Obviously, they're not in a desperate state to where they have to, but it is in their best interest to do so, which is why I've said just, if you're Rob Pelinka, be patient. Let things develop. Let things take its course as you get closer to training camp, which is when I think these trades will happen. I don't think it happens. It could happen while you're watching this video. But I think more realistically, probably once we get closer to training camp, that's when you'll start seeing Portland go, all right. Because it's in their best interest to be patient and wait, right? Like, best case scenario, somebody comes out of the woodworks and maybe gives you what you want for Jerami Grant. Worst case scenario, you take the Lakers deal that's probably still going to be there come training camp, right? Even if the Lakers go and make another move, right? Like, chances are they'll still have enough to go get Jerami Grant. You can kind of work out a deal with the Lakers. So Lakers are probably not going anywhere in that regard. Like, even if the Lakers go and trade for, say a Wendell Carter Jr. or something, right? They could still go make a play for Jerami Grant if they want Jerami Grant, right? And if you're the Lakers, you could also kind of put pressure on them. Like, if you get, say, another move, right? You could be like, hey, we're going to do this unless you do what we want, right? So we'll see. Patience is the name of the game. It's the key. But the other side of that coin is Simons is going to have a good market, right? He's still very young, very talented player. Defensively, bit of a liability, but offensively, guy can cook in a multitude of ways. Guy would be an excellent player on many teams. He's on a reasonable contract. He's not astronomical, right? So there are some benefits, and there are teams that could make a push and a play to go and trade for Simons, which, if the Blazers make that move, the report says at least one, Now, again, they could trade both, but if they're able to get off of Simons, do they have this sense of like, okay, like now we're not as desperate to get out. We cleared a spot, we cleared minutes for some of the guys, right? Most of their guys are guards, right? Like we can be patient with Jerami Grant. There is that concern that like, hey, if Simons goes to, I don't know, Orlando, just use them as an example, right? Goes to Orlando, do they now not have the urgency to go and trade Jerami Grant? Right? Do they kind of go, okay, like we've freed up some spots for our guys, kind of keep Jerami Grant and be patient and, maybe wait until the trade deadline or something. See if maybe there's more options or a team gets desperate. Maybe a team has an injury or, maybe they just like, Jerami Grant could be the piece that pushes us over, whatever, right? There is that sense of like argument. Now, if I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to get both. Will they be able to get both? That to me depends on the market for both, right? Like what is Simons' market? They want, 2 firsts for Simons. They want 2 firsts for Grant. They're definitely not getting 2 firsts for Grant, I don't believe. According to Blazers reporters, they don't believe it either. So, maybe 1 first for Grant, 2 firsts for Simons. I mean, maybe on the right circumstance, right? Like, I don't think that they get like 2 lottery picks essentially. Like, I don't think like Detroit comes in and does something like that. But could a team that's like, hey, we could really use some more scoring, another scoring punch, right? We give up 2 firsts. Our picks are going to be, in the 20s. Let's just give it up, right? Like, sure, possibly. I would, in an ideal scenario, if you could get Simons and Grant and give up, say, both your first pick swap, right? And then match whatever salaries, maybe give up like a Jalen Hood-Schifino or something like that, supplement that, then I do it, right? I mean, again, you got to at least try. Worst thing that happens is they just laugh you off and tell you no, but you got to at least do your due diligence and make the attempt. Like, hey, we want Jerami Grant. You want to unload Simons. You want to get rid of both. Instead of you trying to go through all this chaos, let's just work it out to where we land both, right? Let's work it out to where we can get both of these guys. Right? Like, hey, we'll give you all of our firsts. We'll give you a couple pick swaps. Like I said, maybe you do 2 firsts, 2 pick swaps. And, and then whatever you need salary match wise, maybe you got to get a third team involved, which I don't think is impossible, right? And you kind of work it out to where you can get a Simons, you get especially if you're trading like D'Lo and Gabe Vincent and all these guys, Simons makes a little more sense. He's not really playmaker like D'Lo is, but he's a guy that can make plays. He can initiate the offense. He can do a lot of the things that you need him to do to kind of supplement that, complement that. I would have concerns with Simons and Reeves in the backcourt defensively. I think you're kind of still dealing with that same like defensive issues. But Simons offensively, I mean, dude, especially when he's cooking, man, that guy is on. Right? It would be nice to kind of have his offensive firepower. Could you kind of offset that? Also, Jerami Grant and Simons would be on just a better team in the Lakers. And also defensively with Anthony Davis and stuff, you can make an argument that like maybe both can be better, right? Because Jerami Grant hasn't been as good defensively as he's been in the past, but also he's been on bad teams, which haven't been good defensively, where the Lakers with Anthony, I mean, we saw with Anthony Davis and Jared Vanderbilt, Lakers are one of the top teams in the league defensively, right? Like, Jerami Grant will have such an easier time defensively because he has Anthony Davis as that support, right? So I do think that you can make an argument that collectively they could be better on the defensive side of things, but it'd be hard to say no, Simon, especially because he's so young that he gives you that piece for not only now, but the future, right? So he's a piece that is not only beneficial momentarily and in the now, but he's a piece that even post LeBron, even post AD, he could be a real, I mean, he's all-star level type of guy, or he can be. I mean, the problem is the West is just so stacked with guards that chances are he's probably never really going to be an all-star. Although you can make the argument with the Lakers and the Lakers fan pool and stuff like that, he maybe could get into an all-star level, but there's still room for growth and potential there, right? Like him, I think would be nice. Personally, I would, if you bring in Simons, I would probably bring Reeves off the bench. That's just me personally, and bring in like a Max Christie or something like that, so you get some defense, you get some point of attack, get somebody that can defend and knock down the three ball. Because I just think, again, Simons and Reeves would kind of be a little redundant in that regard. Plus, Reeves has been more efficient off the bench than he has in the starting unit, right? I'm not saying you can't run both at times. I mean, you could even start them if you wanted to, and then kind of just stagger the two throughout, right? You could do something like that, but I think if you're the Lakers, you got to at least make the attempt. Do I think it's likely they get both? No, I don't. Right? Because now I think Jerami Grant is very likely. I think the Lakers are probably going to land him. Right? Like if I had to pick a name that has been linked to the Lakers that is the most realistic and likely, it's Jerami Grant. But I think you got to at least throw your hat in the ring for Simons. Right? Because you never know, right? Like, what if he doesn't have the market that people think? Right? I mean, you look at the land, it's like, how many teams really need a guard? Like, how many teams need somebody like him? Most of the good teams already have that. Most of the bad teams already have their guy that they're developing into that. It's very possible that the market is kind of thin and dry for him, and maybe the Lakers can. Hey, we'll give you, like I said, 2 pick swaps, give you the 2 firsts unprotected, match salaries, land a Jerami Grant, land a Simons. I definitely think the Lakers are better at that point. Definitely think now the Lakers could be in contention status. You got a guy that can score, go get you 20 plus a game. On the offense side, you got another guy that could be a two-way 3-and-D wing, go get you 20 plus. On the other side, you add that to LeBron, AD, right? Again, I'd probably bring in a more defensive-minded guy to slaughter alongside Jerami Grant. And that, like I said, maybe it's Max Christie. Maybe you're going kind of like positionless and having Jared Vanderbilt, right? Even just for like position's sake, you could go like LeBron, Simons, Vando, Grant, and AD as like your 5. But really it's like, Vando is like the point of attack 2, essentially, and you have Grant and Simons with AD and LeBron can still kind of play that scout role at the 4, right? So you kind of just, again, kind of go positionless and have Vando and Grant out on the perimeter, kind of defending and patrolling. Anthony Davis kind of moving up in that pocket, and then LeBron James is playing that scout role, right, with Simons kind of chasing around and trailing. Like, I think that you could make it work. I think you could kind of fit it in where need be. But gives the Lakers options, definitely. Again, the more options on the market, the better. The more likely it is that the Lakers land somebody. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that the Lakers should go try to get both? Do you think it's unrealistic to get both, so don't even try? Do you think no, go get Grant? Do you think just no, forget Grant, just go all in on Simons? Do you have concerns about the defense if you were to have Reeves and Simons, or do you think just the offensive skill is enough to kind of balance and offset that, which I think there's an argument for? But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.